If you were in an Uber or Lyft wreck in Mississippi and you did not report it, not to the police, not to the app, not to anyone, you may have just handed the insurance company the easiest excuse in the world to deny your claim. Because in injury cases, the truth is not just what happened, the truth is what we can prove. And when an accident goes unreported, the paper trail goes missing, the evidence gets cold, and your medical bills do not. Hi, I'm Mama Justice. I'm a Mississippi injury attorney, and I want you to understand exactly what an unreported rideshare accident can do to your case, and what you should do if you're reading this after the fact and you're already behind the 8 ball. First, why reporting matters, especially in Mississippi. Let's start with the rule that surprises most people. In Mississippi, when a crash involves an injury or death, or when property damage appears to be $500 or more, the driver is supposed to immediately notify law enforcement. That is not a maybe later situation. The law says the driver must give notice right away to the local police department, or if it happened in the city, or to the sheriff or highway patrol if it happened outside the city limits. Now, you might be thinking, I was a passenger. This is not my job. Fair. The statute is written as a duty for drivers, but here's what matters for you as a rideshare passenger. If the driver does not call, you can, and you should, because if nobody calls, you may end up with no report number, no documented time and location, and no neutral record that the crash even occurred. And yes, under Mississippi's general traffic penalty rule, failing to do an act required under the traffic chapter can be treated as a misdemeanor unless another penalty applies. Most of the time, the bigger issue is not the criminal side. The bigger issue is what happens to your injury claim when the crash is basically invisible. 2. Uber and Lyft want it reported too. Here's the second trap. Even if you think, well, we'll just handle this privately, rideshare companies have their own reporting systems, and they expect you to use them. Uber specifically tells riders and drivers how to report a crash and points riders to reporting tools inside the app, including their safety incident reporting line in the ride details screen. Uber also says to complete the reporting process as soon as it is reasonably safe to do so. Lyft also tells riders that if they're involved in an accident, they should let Lyft know, and they provide an accident reporting pathway through their system as well. So why does all this matter? Because if there's no police report and no app report, you are starting from zero when it comes time to prove you were hurt in that ride, at that time, and in that crash. And the rideshare insurance process does not start until somebody puts the company on notice. 3. How unreported accidents destroy your injury claims. This is the part nobody wants to hear, but you need to hear it. Insurance companies do not like gray areas. They absolutely love them. If you report a crash 2 weeks later, here's what the insurance adjuster is thinking. No police report, no documented scene, no witness names, no photos, no timeline that they can verify, no immediate complaint of injury on the record. And then they say the magic words, "We cannot confirm this claim." Even if you're telling the absolute truth, an unreported accident gives them room to argue that your injuries came from something else. A workout maybe, a fall at home, sleeping wrong, anything. And in rideshare cases, they may also question whether you were actually a passenger on an active ride at that time. That is why you should screenshot your trip details immediately, including the date, time, pickup, and drop-off, the driver's name, and the route. Here's another problem: notice requirements. Most auto insurance policies, including your own coverage, have language that requires a prompt notice of an accident. If notice is unreasonably delayed, it gives the insurer an argument to deny coverage or fight responsibility. I'm not saying every late report is automatically denied. What I'm saying is the delay becomes a weapon. If you want a clean claim, you want a clean timeline. 4. The legal risk when nothing gets reported. Let's talk about what can happen beyond money. First, Mississippi law requires immediate notice to law enforcement in certain crashes, like the ones involving injury or significant property damage. So when a crash should have been reported and it was not, that can create legal complications for the driver involved. Second, the longer you wait, the easier it is for the other side to accuse you of making it up. I have seen defense lawyers stand up and ask a simple question that sounds like a gut punch. If you were really hurt, why didn't anybody report it? That is a tough question to answer in front of a jury. Third, be careful about inconsistent stories. When people do not report a crash at the scene, they fill in details later from their memory, under stress, while in pain, after talking to friends, after reading the internet. The story can shift without them even realizing it. And when the story shifts, the other side starts throwing around ugly words like fraud. Mississippi takes insurance fraud seriously, and certain insurance fraud violations can be charged as felonies under Mississippi law. That does not mean you are committing fraud by being confused or by missing a detail. It means you have to be careful, precise, and consistent. Reporting early helps lock in the facts. Fifth, what unreported accidents mean for medical bills and treatment. This is where the real financial pain usually hits. A lot of people walk away from a crash thinking they're just fine. Then they wake up 2 days later with neck pain or back pain, headaches, numbness. When you go to the doctor, the first thing they ask is, how were you injured? If you say car accident, your health insurer may still pay, but they often want accident details, and they may have a right to be reimbursed later from the settlement. That process is smoother when it's a clear crash record and clear liability picture. If there is no report, the rideshare insurer may fight harder, delay longer, and demand more proof. Meanwhile, your bills still keep coming in. So the stakes of not reporting are not abstract. They are monthly statements, collection calls, and stress you do not need while you're trying to heal. 6. Evidence disappears fast, and Mississippi is not a camera on every corner state. You can take nothing else from this video. Take this. Time is evidence. In the first 24 to 72 hours, you might have camera footage from a gas station or business. A week later, it's gone. Overwritten. A few weeks later, skid marks fade, vehicles are repaired, and witnesses forget. Even your phone matters. If you do not take photos, you lose the only unbiased snapshots you may ever have. And in a rideshare accident, the app details matter too. You should preserve your ride info, screenshots, receipts, and any messages in the app as soon as possible. When an accident goes unreported, the case goes cold, and cold cases are harder to win, even when you're right. 7. What you should do, even if it seems minor. Let's make this practical with 2 situations. Situation A, you are at the scene right now. First, call 911 if anyone is hurt. If you are a passenger and the driver is trying to talk you out of it, call anyway. 2. Make sure law enforcement is notified when the crash involves injury or apparent total property damage in excess of $500. 3. Take photos, vehicles, license plates, the rideshare vehicle, the other vehicle, the road, the intersection, the weather, and any visible injuries. 4th, always get witness names and phone numbers if you can. 5th, report the crash inside the rideshare app. Uber and Lyft both provide ways to report accidents. 6. Get medical care if anything feels off. Do not wait and hope it goes away. All right? Situation B. The accident's already happened and it was not reported. First, do not panic. An unreported crash does not automatically destroy your case. It just makes it harder. Here's what you need to do next, today. First, get medical evaluation as soon as possible. Tell the provider exactly what happened and when. 2. Write down your memory of the crash in detail while it's still fresh. Time, location, direction of travel, what you felt, what you heard, what you remember the driver saying. 3. Screenshot your Uber or Lyft trip. Details, date, time, driver name, route, pick up and drop off. 4th, report the crash to the rideshare company right now. Do not wait another week. 5th, if you can, make a report with law enforcement, even if it's after the fact. A delayed report is not as strong as on-scene investigation, but it can still help establish a timeline. 6, talk to a lawyer quickly, because the longer you wait, the harder it is to locate witnesses and preserve any available footage. And one more important point. Mississippi generally gives you 3 years to file many negligence-based injury lawsuits, but that does not mean you should wait 3 years. Evidence does not last that long. So here's the truth. When a rideshare accident in Mississippi goes unreported, it can crush your leverage. It creates doubt, delays, and denials. It makes it harder to prove what happened, harder to get medical bills covered, and easier for the other side to claim your injuries came from somewhere else. Reporting is not about causing trouble. Reporting is about protecting your future. If you were hurt in an Uber or Lyft crash and you're unsure about what to do next, get legal advice before you give statements, sign forms, or accept any quick money that comes with the release. If you want to protect yourself even more, you need to watch my next video. While there's no such thing as an open and shut motorcycle accident case in Mississippi, it will open your eyes to how fast obvious cases get twisted and how to keep that from happening to you. See you over there.